Hello. We, uh, you know who we are.
And you are watching #Truth with Scott Larson.
Roll it.
Cause we're always looking out for you. Always looking out for you. Always looking out for you. Always looking out for you.
When I see you, you're gonna know that you're a man wanted dead or alive, cause that is what I'm coming after.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to #Truth. Tonight, we have the one, the only Dalton Dallas. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. How are you?
I am doing great. I have got one quick announcement to make, and then we're going to get right into talking to Mr. Dalton. #Truth. This is a big announcement for me. I am so excited about this. #Truth now has its own website, #truthpodcast.com. So the way this is going to work is every time I do a show like this, the latest show is going to go on the homepage of this one right here, of this .com down here. And there's also the vault. All my episodes are going to be on that page also. So we're going to have a great time. Just go over to #Truth. And if you ever miss a show, they'll always be there for you to watch. I want to thank everybody for showing up and watching #Truth. All right, Mr. Dalton Dallas, tell me a little bit about yourself, sir. When did you start wrestling, sir?
So I was actually trying to think about that today. I act like I'm such a grizzled vet at 31. I started training in 2007 with a guy named David Reimer, Wicked.
Okay.
And James
Nice.
Drake. What is he now? J.D. Drake?
J.D. Drake, yes.
Yeah, so when people ask, who were you trained by? That's typically who I say. So it's perfect now because people don't go, who? And I'm like, he's on the WWE network.
So you started back during the SWA days then?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That man, I'm telling you, I heard, I wasn't around back then. I lived up in Wisconsin at that time. I wasn't down here in South Carolina where I am now. But I heard a lot of great things about David Reimer and SWA and the wrestlers that came in and out of there, and they trained a lot of great wrestlers up in that show.
Yeah, I mean, just like the camp I was in. Well, I say camp. I think there was like two of us mainstays, me and a guy named Chris Davis. He's not wrestling anymore that I know of. He does dirt track racing, so you're in that Rutherfordton area. Go watch those dirt track races.
There you go.
But
there you go.
Our trainers were, I remember Drake, obviously Wicked. Chuck was around, or I Am Righteous was around a lot.
Right.
Me and him, he started a little bit before I did. And then you get a lot at any wrestling school where people will come in and they stay for like 1 or 2 days and then they never show up again.
Right. Without a doubt.
David did it right by us because we would show up to his house and then we would take the short drive over to his mom's house, set up the ring in the backyard. And so that was great for people driving by. train for like 3 hours, and then take the ring back down. So when people talk about paying their dues, I have no problem
Right.
setting a ring down. I believe that ring was an old NWA TV ring. That's what
Right.
I've always been told. I don't know if that's the truth. It's wrestling. Who knows?
I
if it's
wouldn't
the truth.
doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
It's
Great to hear that.
Ring.
Yeah, it's great to hear when people, do the right thing by wrestling and put up the rings, put down the rings, do the work, and then get in there and train. And that's how you become a superstar. Now, I know you have on here Stifler, a.k.a. Dalton Dallas, but when you came into wrestling, you weren't Dalton Dallas. This is a new gimmick. What was your name when you first came into wrestling?
So I had a couple, and I'm going to be long-winded, so just cut me off.
Go ahead, man. It's all you.
So when I first started, and this is so I had a friend named Jeremy, and Jeremy went to school with Chuck. I believe they were in a broadcasting class together. Well, I was 16, 17 years old, high school, young kid stuff. We were wrestling in a backyard because why not? Everyone was doing it. It's either that or drugs, and I'm not a drug guy. So
there you go.
So we had our whole like little trampoline with our ropes and our wood posts and everything. We made a 6-sided trampoline ring. I'm not saying we were the first, but I mean, I'm not going to say we're the best either because we stole a lot of pallets to build that stupid thing. But at that time, I was. And no one knows this. Chuck might know this. I threw the DVDs away because I don't ever want anyone to see them. They were so bad. But we had function. I was started out as Wall Street.
So you guys built a ring out of a trampoline. You guys were actually running matches on a trampoline and recording them and putting them to DVD.
Yep, we put pallets under the ring with plywood and mattresses. And that was our ring. So, I mean, it's definitely still the softest we've ever been in. But, it did the job for, getting to have fun on the weekends.
Was you guys making money off of the DVDs and things like that?
Not at all. I remember going into my ROTC class. I went to South Point in Belmont, North Carolina. And I remember going into ROTC class giving out posters to the point where I actually got in trouble for giving out posters.
Right.
And none of those people ever showed up. I think typically we had like 2 or 3 people show up, which was fine. But so to fast forward, so we were doing that, and the guy that we were hanging out with, and I don't care if I get heat with the guy for it. I mean, he doesn't talk to me anymore. It was this white rapper named Av.
Okay.
AVE. But that was supposed to be an abbreviation for Avalanche.
Okay.
So and there's a point. So we go to an SWA show, and the names on there you have some really fun names on that card. You had Bryce Anthony, you had Shay McGrady, you had ADD Jamie Lee.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Of course, you had James Drake, Doc Feelgood. I think Mike Payne was on that show. I don't know if it was the same one we talked about earlier.
Don't forget I Am Righteous.
Oh yeah, he was in there. I believe the group was Mayhem Mafia at the time.
Yeah.
So, oh God, who else? Oh, I'm leaving out the big one. So, oh man, we had. Oh God, there's a manager now. I flake on names all the time. There's a manager now, Percy James. He wasn't on the show, but I think so.
I think so.
He's managing somebody right now, and I can't think of his name.
Okay. Was it Perry James?
Perry James. He wasn't on that show that I know of. But
okay.
The guy he's managing right now, do you know who his
Derek
name
Driver?
is?
Derek Driver?
Okay. Derek Driver was in a tag team called New Wave. And, I don't know if you know much about New Wave, but Derek Driver's tag team partner was a guy named Steven. I'm going to channel my Brett Wolverton here. Steven, the Fever Walters. And I still have him in my phone as Stephen Walters. Then Stephen Walters, a.k.a. Dash Wilder, a.k.a. Cash Wheeler.
There you go.
Mr. AEW now. Oh, God, who else was on that? Shay McGrady and Jamie Lee fought in a Porter John match, and that was awesome. So us as the
Oh my
backup
goodness, this is
guys-
getting better by the
Oh, yeah.
minute.
Oh, I have so many stories.
So you
the,
came into SWA. So you came into SWA. This was what you came into. These guys were wrestling right
Yeah.
there. Now, how did you
That was
get?
my
How
first-
did you
that
get
was my
through
second
the
D
door
show.
at SWA to talk to them? Who was
So-
the person, the middleman?
Chuck. So
Okay.
I'm Righteous got us in, and he got us in with David, and David trained us before the show. It was me, Jeremy, and Av, and I think there was a fourth person, but I can't remember. I mean, that was
Okay.
13. Well, that was like 13 years ago now. So
Okay.
Av supposedly had all this wrestling experience beforehand, and his
All right.
wrestling name was Bad Ben in the backyard. So supposedly he was professionally trained. But then all of
Okay.
a sudden we're playing basketball after we set the ring up. But when it
Right.
comes down to training, evidently he has a back injury. So me and Jeremy get in the ring. Now I knew I wanted to do this. I already had wrestling boots. I was serious about it.
Right.
So I put my wrestling boots on. Didn't know how to lace them because evidently there's like an old school way to lace your boots. So
Okay.
I put my boots on. I get in the ring. Jeremy is done after like 20 minutes. I'm training for like 2 hours. Now people are taking notice that I'm wanting to do this. I had a horrible headache. I'd never bumped the ring a day in my life. It sucked. So
they
fast forward-
worked you hard, didn't they? They worked you
Oh,
hard
God.
that day.
I mean, it's definitely not like the old stories. Like I love podcasts and stuff like that. It's definitely not like they try to beat the crap out of us and not make a show back up. No, they wanted us to.
But
show
they wanted to
up.
make sure you were serious about wanting to wrestle, though.
enough to.
Right.
And so fast forward, the show goes great. We do security. Matter of fact, if anyone goes to my YouTube, I believe it's Stifler, Stifler. By the way, people ask why I never spelled it Fler, because that would be Stifler. Technically, it's spelled Stifler. The reason being is most people don't know this. I actually got a cease and desist from the people who wrote American Pie.
Funny you say that, because one of the guys commented. He said, "Hope your gimmick isn't something compared to Stifler on American Pie."
No, so backstory real quick to sidetrack. Backstory on my name. So my dad, Rick Lambert, he was a deputy sheriff in Mecklenburg County in Charlotte, North Carolina. For anybody listening outside of the North Carolina, South Carolina region, my dad was a deputy for Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Department. He did prisoner transport. One of his partners was a guy by the name, and Carolina people will know this name, a guy by the name of Johnny Weaver.
Okay.
So Johnny Weaver, to people who don't know him, was huge in the South back in the 60s and 70s. And he, of course, went to Japan, all that stuff. He's actually, and people can fight me physically or over the internet. I just won't respond if it's over the internet. I don't have time for that. He actually, supposedly, to the wrestling world, brought in and invented the sleeper hold for the pro wrestling side. He's accredited to that. Piper said it. Arn Anderson said it. As far as I'm concerned, if Arn says it, it's gospel. So, when he used to come over when I was a little kid for dinner, and we used to play wrestle, and I used to punch him, and he used to call me Stifler because I was so stiff. And by the way, if anyone wrestled me in the ring, I'm sorry, but that game is not just fun and care. I promise I'll be lighter as Dalton Dallas. Dalton Dallas is going to be light as a feather. Unless you're a fan, it hurt really bad. So I actually got that name from him. So, and I think it was like 94, 95. So if my memory serves me correctly, it's before the movies. And anyway, so back to the SWA thing. So we trained, and I'm trying to remember who all was training us, but I really can't remember.
That's fine.
I want to say Myrick Moore had something to do with it at that time. Which I miss Myrick, and I know he's still working. Like, what is it? HWA is a new one.
Yes, HWA. Heritage Wrestling Alliance. Yes, he's
Which
working there.
I would love-
As a matter of fact, he was a tag team with Derek Driver, who we spoke
Yes.
about earlier. He has been a partner with him, and Perry James is their manager. So yeah.
For anybody who's listening, I'm going to catch heat for this. So for anybody who's listening that was in those locker rooms back in SWA days, I haven't forget. Derek Driver is very infamous. That's all I'm going to say. It doesn't need explaining. It's not for the fans.
Okay.
Myrick will know exactly what I mean.
I got
Schaefer
you.
will know what I mean. That's all that
I
needs to
got
be said. So,
Right.
so my YouTube, I believe it's STIFLER Stifler 1989. There's a
Okay.
video of JD Drake actually chopping me. That was my first ever chop. I wanted it. I called for it. You actually hear Av in the background going, everyone was selling it because it hurt.
Right.
He tattooed me. So after the show, they won a bail. I drove us. They wanted the bail. I went to Chuck. I went to David and told him, hey, look, I really want to do this. But they want to leave. David said, we're pretty much done breaking down. Thank you. Here's my phone number. Call me tomorrow. I call him tomorrow. I start training that day. From that point, I trained every day, every Sunday and every before show. And also the HCW shows in Mooresboro. I was doing those, reffing a lot. Then Wicked got me in contact with, I was basically the personal driver for Chris Hamrick for about a year. So that was
I
fun.
bet you got some stories to tell right there, boy.
Do you want me to go ahead and tell one real good one?
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me do this quick commercial
Yeah.
break, and then we'll come back, and you tell me one of the stories, man, because I love Chris Hamrick. I would love to hear those. So we'll be right back after these words from XCW.
Excalibur Championship Wrestling fans, it is me, the rightful junior heavyweight champion, Mickey Philp here. And the reason I'm calling myself the rightful junior heavyweight champion is because a few weeks ago, when me and Kay Amari stepped into the ring for the junior heavyweight championship, I was screwed. I mean, let's talk about this incompetent ref, this idiot, this fool, Mike Ramsey. That was the ref for the match. Mike Ramsey, my foot was on the rope. Even those people in Lincolnton said something to you about it. They were sitting there going, shrugging their shoulders, saying, well, what's going on, man? What the hell are you doing? Because a competent ref would see that somebody's foot was on the rope and stop the count. But you didn't. So because of you, Mike Ramsey, I'm not the junior heavyweight champion right now. But I should be. I should be the junior heavyweight champion because I think everybody knows that I was going to beat Kay Amari. I think even you know that. Maybe I'm starting to think Mike Ramsey and Kay Amari were in on this together. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe I'm just a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. But Commissioner Gene Perry, this video is more for you than it is the fans. I need you to make this right. Because on February 14th, I'm coming back to Excalibur Championship Wrestling. And I demand a rematch against Kay Amari. And if I don't get what I want, I guess I'm just going to have to go to old Rick Diesel, the commissioner of the AIWF, and get what I want. I'll see you guys on February 14th.
I love it when a plan comes together. DOC, where you at? Black Society, where you at? High profile, go get a waffle, son, because you ain't ready. We told you we were walking in and taking the tag team titles, and we did just that, now didn't we, chumps? So now, everybody's going to want a shot at the Kings. Tell them something, Ivan.
So, there was a miscalculation on my part because you see, next week, no, we're not going to be able to make that. But what I can give you is the Valentine's Day gift of the century, of the millennial, of a lifetime. DOC, we're coming. We're coming hard, fast, and furious. And player, please bring your A game because we won't accept anything less. Let's go, guys.
There you go, man. XCW, February 14th. Going to have a big show that night. So we were talking about SWA. You were there. You were training. All of a sudden, you became a personal driver for
Chris Hamrick.
Chris Hamrick. There you go. So tell us, you said you had a whopper of a story. I would love to hear it.
To me, it's a whopper story. If Chris Hamrick was watching this, I believe he would say I owe him money. Chris, checks in the mail. So I used to drive a Mazda 626. And by the way, I love that car. I miss that car every day. But it was a beater. So this was I think this was actually the last trip we ever took with each other.
Okay.
So I remember I pick him up off of 321 in North Carolina. He didn't want to meet. Oh God, I'm sorry, Chris. He didn't want to meet me in Charlotte at my house to meet for the ride, even though it had closer.
Right.
Because he was scared of Charlotte. Chris, I'm calling you out. You said you were scared of Charlotte. I'm sorry, bud.
Oh,
That's
man.
hilarious.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Okay,
anyway.
My neighborhood was fine. So anyway, so we get there. We were going to Virginia, Chesapeake, Virginia. And Chris was excited. I was excited, but I had learned from David, keep your excitement in. Don't try not to show it too much. But I was super excited because I was going to get to meet Terry Funk.
Oh, wow.
And Chris was excited because he was going to get a picture with Terry Funk so he could sell on his gimmick table. And I don't blame him because I still want a picture with Terry Funk so I can sell at my gimmick table.
Right.
By the way, side note, I watched Chris Hamrick sign so many Heidenreich photos. It's not even funny. And that's hilarious. I remember people just walking up to the gimmick table because I would always work Chris's gimmick table going, was he Heidenreich? And Chris always told me, the answer is always yes. I don't care if they come up with a picture of Ron Simmons. The answer is always yes. And I was excited. So he would. And I always thought that was cool. And I learned how to have fun on the road because of Chris. And I learned a lot from Chris. But anyway, so we're driving to Chesapeake, Virginia. And I had a sunroof. And for whatever reason, I knew nothing about cars at the time. Now I'm a big car person. It starts to get hot in the car. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll roll the windows down. I got a sunroof because, I'm classy. I got money like that, evidently. So we put the sunroof down. We're driving. All of a sudden, the car stops. Long story short, I blew my engine. Yeah, I blew the motor.
I bet Chris wasn't too happy about that.
Oh, no. See, I used all my dad's hookups. We even got, which evidently, and I know this firsthand now, even before, past my father, because I don't want to say what my shoot job is, but let's just say I know a lot about law enforcement now. My dad actually made a phone call and got state troopers to come and try to jump my car. And now knowing what I know about cars, it definitely wasn't that. Because the car was moving. So we blew the motor. We're watching old TNA wrestling off of my laptop that I had. Because I had just graduated high school at the time. And so my graduation gift was a laptop. Which is ironic because you get laptop for people who going to college. I did not want to go to college. I wanted to wrestle. And so for whatever reason, I still got a laptop. So
gotcha.
So I had all these matches on there. We're watching them. Chris is breaking them down, telling me, why you do this, why you don't do that. He's educating me about the business, things I wouldn't say on a podcast. So
right.
Then it starts pouring down rain, and the sunroof is stuck open because I have no power to the car now.
I can just imagine Chris Hamrick at this point. Oh my goodness.
I'm trying to remember. I don't recall him saying much. I was able to get the sunroof partially closed.
Okay.
My mom came and picked us up.
Okay.
And we had to wait for a tow truck. And Chris is looking for rental cars at this point. And I get it. I mean, not knowing what I know about the business now and traveling as much as I have,
Right.
I was thankful enough that way after the Chris thing that I was able to go to about 27 states and 4 countries in Puerto Rico. I was
Nice.
thankful to get to wrestle a lot in a lot of places that I had no business. Now I go to the gym all the time. I wasn't going to the gym then. People just saw my gimmick that we'll talk about in a second and was like,
Right.
we'll book him. I'm like, okay. Because there wasn't many people doing the character that I was doing at the time. So
Right.
anyway, so Chris my mom picks us up. We wait for the tow truck driver, and for whatever reason, his wife, they pick us up, or my mom picks us up. I let Chris sit in the front seat with my mom. I don't know why I did that. Young boy in wrestling. Here, you guy I know for a year now.
Out of
sit with
respect,
my mother.
Out of respect,
sit with my dearest mother.
Right.
So my mom ain't nothing other than my mom used to be good friends with Dick Slater's wife.
Okay.
My mom was a nurse back in the my mom's still a nurse, but my mom's was an ER nurse with Dick Slater's wife. So they start talking about Rock and Roll Express and stuff like that. And those that you don't know, Chris tagged with Ricky Morton for a good bit.
Yep.
A good old. I have a short Ricky Morton story eventually too, if you want that one. But
we'll get to that.
Everyone's got Ricky Morton stories,
right?
So we make a pit stop to the gas station. Chris sees a wet floor sign, looks at me, and starts laughing because my mom's in the bathroom. He props the wet floor sign up and locks my mom into the bathroom while she's peeing.
Oh no! He ribbed your mom.
He ribbed my mom. She hasn't got the business whatsoever. But Chris ribbed my mom. It's the greatest thing ever.
That's good. I love it.
I mean, me and Chris had some heat, not necessarily because of that, but because of other bad decisions I had made. But I was young in the business, and Chris, by any chance, if you ever see this, I'm sorry. I was young. I didn't know no better. I now have a respect for him. It's
probably bygones by now.
God, I saw Chris back in 2012. I think that was the last time I saw him in a Kate skating rink.
I think
I actually worked at that
was a couple of months ago up at Forest City. I saw him a couple months ago up at Forest City. So it's been a little bit, but it's only been a couple of months for me. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He loves talking wrestling, boy. If you want to stop and talk wrestling, he will talk wrestling with you. Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Hopefully, I'll see Chris and we'll get to talk some more. I appreciate everything he did for me. You know, I still remember him buying me a Subway sandwich, and that was appreciated for a kid who was broke. So,
without a doubt. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to do this quick commercial real quick, and then we're going to come out of the break. And when we come out of the break, we're going to talk about something that happened in your wrestling career that changed your career. You know what I'm talking about. So we'll be right back.
You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material complications. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn their spirits, not animals. He said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
There you go, XWW. Going to be a great show in March. So I'm going to let you go ahead and tell this story, but something happened to you back when you were doing some wrestling. Some things changed in your life, and I'm going to let you explain it all.
Well, before we do that, I'm really bad at this. Can I speed through the name changes real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
Because, so I talked about Avalanche, the backyard stuff. So because of that, we thought of a great idea, and this was me and Chuck, or Ivan. I'm sorry. Ivan, Chuck.
You can call him Chuck. We all know him as Chuck. You can call him Chuck.
So me and Chuck thought, well, this guy stopped talking to me. He goes, you abandoned us and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, I didn't abandon you. Now he labels me as his enemy. And I'm like, we're not superheroes here. I'm not your enemy. I'm just a guy who doesn't want to wrestle in the backyard.
Right.
So I decided, hey, first gimmick, I'll get some pleather trash bag looking pants, say yo on the side. I'll wear a mask, and I'll call myself Big Bad Avalanche. And made fun of him, came out to his music and stuff like that. And I know he sent me a Facebook message about it. He was hot, but it's whatever. I don't care. It's the business. He wouldn't know about that, but it's the business. So after that, I started. I remember when I finished wrestling school, and James McCone, who I don't know if he gets brought up about here, that, as far as I'm concerned, is one of my wrestling dads. If it wasn't for David, Drake, Chuck, Tim Dixon, I don't know if he gets brought up on here. He should get a lot of credit for a lot of things in the Carolinas. And James McCone, I wouldn't have got to do the things that I did in the business. So I remember David going because he was famous for his locker room speeches.
Right.
I remember him saying in the locker room, McCone, he's your problem now. So I would travel with McCone to APW Chester a lot.
Okay.
We were going every Friday. And I was wrestling under the name, rewind a little bit, I was in APW Spartanburg one night. It was the first time I was no mask, was going to wrestle as Stifler. And Jay Eagle said, the suntan Indian, he said, you got to have a first name. So I said, and my music was playing. I'm like, okay, Steven. So I walked out there, Steven Stifler, boom, done. It sounds like it fit. Didn't even realize, crap, that's the exact character name of the guy from the movie. So, but it was Spartanburg. It's not like, oh, God, everybody, that is not where I got the cease and desist from.
Right.
So I started doing that. Now go back to Chester and, well, excuse me. So I go back to, I'm wrestling in Chester every Friday. At the time, the promoter / booker was Doug Hawkins.
Right.
And Doug, I bought a singlet on eBay. I still have it too. That has a big pink butterfly and a guy doing this. I don't know what that means, but the singlet did that. And Easy Money's the one that made them a singlet. By the way, if anybody ever wants gear from Easy Money, just buy it from eBay because he sells it on there. Don't try to get anything custom. There's a lot of stories. You can look it up. I'm not going to trash it. Because I have my gear person, and she is awesome. Hey, Moria Blocker. I can't remember if she told me she did or did not want to shout out, but
she just got one whether she wanted it or not.
One because I mean, honestly, that was my gear mother. She clothed me when no one else would take a chance on somebody that couldn't pay up front. So
there you go. There you go.
She's been burned a lot by a lot of people, and she don't deserve that. She makes really good stuff, and she's a good woman. But anyway, so I was in the back at Chester. Another night, my music is playing. Doug goes, hey, you should do a gay gimmick. Can you get a purse? And I'm like, a purse? And he's like, yeah, come out next week with a purse. I'm like, okay. I'm young. I'm young. I'm impressionable. I don't know any better. So next week, I come out with a purse. Doug goes, oh, I got a bubble machine. And I'm like, okay, sweet. So no one had pyro. A couple people had smoke.
So you came out with a purse. You had a bubble machine. I mean, was you acting flamboyant?
Yeah, because Doug said, next week you're gay. And I'm like, well, you want me to just do it now? He goes, yep. So I went out there and did my best impression of every, Gold Dust, Adrian Treat, and I'm like, crap, I did not study for this. But I didn't know. I mean, I don't know.
Now, I'm telling you, you do Gold Dust. If you can do Gold Dust and Adrian Street and combine them, you are going to make something of yourself, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I love both of those characters, man. Both of those characters. I watched Adrian Street. I'm a big CCW fan, Continental Championship fan. So I watched him growing up, and I am a huge fan of Dusty. So any character he did, man, Dusty Rhodes, I was there. And when he came out to Gold Dust the first time, when he came out with the glitter and the big yellow and white robe and started doing, oh my God, I went nuts. It was great.
I was before this conversation, I was just watching Judgment Day '98 with Gold Dust Malvinas.
Oh my God, what a great match. What a great match.
If anybody saw the promo picture for this interview today, you'll know I'm a huge Malvinas mark because that picture, I cannot find that Malvinas shirt, and it has seen better days.
Ladies.
And I have met Sean Morley multiple times, and political views aside, because he's a little out there,
right?
Just with his comments nowadays, he is an awesome guy. He was always cool by me. We had a bunch of talks and stuff like that.
Right.
So anyway, so that day.
So you got the first. You got the bubble machine.
Yep. I come out, and then I started to be smart with it. I was a heel, which turned into what it's supposed to in the business for something like that. It turned into the crowd loving it, and I was trying to get heat as much as possible, and then it just wasn't happening after a while. And
I've seen some of the pictures you have on your Facebook page of you, coming out, and you got the tassels on your boots and things like that, and
the tassels ain't going nowhere.
It looked like a pretty cool character.
It was fun to do. It was just hard for me because it wasn't fully who I am. Like,
right.
I'm very open with I'm a straight male.
Right.
And I'm very open with my sexuality and my flamboyance. And that's always been a part of me. So that part was easy. It was when people wanted me to do a voice. And I hated doing it. I mean, my voice was a mix of Thomas Simpson, which I'm sure I'll catch heat for that too, and Dusty Rhodes. That was the voice.
So they tried to make you do a flamboyant voice too, and not just be yourself with that?
That was people outside of the Carolinas. That was like Alabama, Kentucky, for whatever reason, Iowa. I did a promotion out there for a guy named Jeffrey Gatt, and he wanted me to do that voice all the time. And I love doing voices. I mean, like if he would have said, "Hey, I saw this guy in the Carolinas named Viper, and I want you to come out there and go, hey man, it's HPW, dog." I could Viper bombs for everybody, dog.
Spot on.
If he would have said go out there and be Viper, I would have done it and had no problem. But he wanted me to go out there and it just didn't feel
right. It just wasn't normal. It just wasn't normal for you.
Yeah, and it's like now, like what I want to eventually do, it's just an extension of myself without, the gimmick. Because when you do that kind of character, you're pigeonholed. So people want you to be that, what they think as a sissy, flamboyant character. And there's nothing wrong with people or characters that are like that. But I didn't have the easiest childhood.
You have to make it your own, though. You have to make it your own, not what other people want it to be.
Yeah, and that was hard for me.
The one thing that's really hard to do with that character like that, and I'll be honest with you, because there was another character in our area that I loved to death. I mean, I've got pictures with her, her, him, however you want to say it. And that was BB Naturally. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but
I don't think I've heard of them.
There's a wrestler that wrestled at HWA, BB Naturally. It was a guy. I'm not going to say his real name, but he came out as a girl, and he was very flamboyant. And he came out to Venus, the song Venus.
Okay.
So I mean, but he was a great character. He ended up winning the heavyweight championship out there at HWA. He was way over. People loved him. And for some reason, he tried to travel outside of HWA and do shows, and found out that a lot of the places in the South didn't like his type character. They were just, we don't want that. You can't wrestle here. We don't want that type of character here. And I thought that was a shame because he was really good at what he did. I mean,
to segue into that exact topic. So I would go to these church shows, and I would James McCone, hey Dad, he would take me to SSW, Bo James, and if that's what you're getting at, that's where we're going with. I don't need actually. I say that, but I don't even know if you know that's who did it. But spoiler alert, Bo's going to get brought up again in a second. But, so we did these shows for Bo James in Kingsport, Tennessee, which I'm a big NASCAR fan, so I had no problem going to Kingsport because it's literally 10 minutes down the road from Bristol. So I have no problem doing that. So, and if it wasn't for Bo and some of the other guys that have worked there, I got to wrestle in Bristol Motor Speedway. There's not a lot of people that got to say that. So, you know, I can now, like, when people talk about racing and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I spent my time in Bristol. Like, yeah, well, like, I was at the track. I didn't, you know, there were no cars there. But so Bo didn't want the gimmick, which when you rely on something starting out, that becomes kind of scary because you don't know anything else. So all your spots, all your intuitions for that character, you have to try to hold it in.
They don't want that, and that's hard. I can understand that. That would be really hard, especially if that was your first real gimmick.
Yeah, and so I had fun with it there because that's when I learned to, you know, the Southern stuff and got to, you know, I got to work, you know, I got to meet Dutch Mantell, which was awesome, but I got to work with Tracy Smothers.
Another guy I grew up watching at CCW. Oh, Dirty Dutch.
That's somebody who nowadays in this new generation, for anybody who's watching this, who's been in the business less than, you know, who's just starting out within the last like 10 years, you need to go back and watch as much Dutch Mantell stuff as you can because Dutch can get a crowd easily. And he wasn't some sexy bona fide stud. Like, he looked like
he was hair from head to toe, man. Truth be known, he was hair from head to toe. He had hair all down his arms, all down his. I mean, he was the hairiest man I've ever seen in my life, but could wrestle and could get a crowd to hate him. Oh, in a heartbeat,
That man says jump, you say how high. So I got to meet him a couple times. I got to meet. Oh God, I'm trying to think of what his name was around that time. But I got to meet Paul Bearer, which was awesome. Oh yes, that's one of my favorite impressions to do. My wife
wasn't his name Christy Kringle back then or something like that?
Percy Pringle.
Percy Pringle. That was it. Percy. I don't know why I said that. Percy Pringle. That was it.
He was fun, but getting to actually work in the ring with Tracy Smothers, God rest his soul, that was eye-opening.
Smothers brothers, oh my God, they were great.
I remember me and Tracy just sitting on the back table watching Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant cut promos that were going to air on TV, and Bo didn't have the nerve to tell him he said the date wrong. So, you know, it was hilarious because me and Tracy were laughing our butts off, and we were watching, you know, the most intense man ever. You know, brother, on Thursday, or, you know, on February 13th, Saturday, we're going to be there, we're going to wreck it. And I'm like, that's a Thursday. You're going to be here on the 15th, not the 13th. What are you doing? And Tracy
are you really going to go over there and say, hey, man, you said the date wrong, man? He'd probably punch you in the mouth.
Oh, yeah. I said, hey, you know what? And I remember watching it and I'll get to, full story here. That actual tape is the same tape that I got injured on. So, Bo James and I were wrestling, and I had a lot of ill will towards Bo then.
Right.
I don't now. I'm not going to hold grudges. I got better.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we get to that part of the story right after I do my last commercial break, and then you can go into the whole thing, and we will be uninterrupted. That way we won't get interrupted. So I'm going to do this last. This is going to be our last our last intermission. We're going to do a quick thing from SCW. We'll be right back after this, and we're going to hear that story.
As warriors, we stand in any condition, any environment, waiting new challenges. The Black Society stands in the blistering cold as the snow comes down, and we wait for new challenges anytime, anywhere. We never sleep. We never rest. Who will step up? Who will challenge the Black Society for the Strong Championship Wrestling title belts? We stand out here in the freezing, biting cold. Where are the rest of you cowards?
Well, hello, Black Society, calling out all tag teams in SCW. I love it. All right, now we're gonna get down to the part of this. This is the part where your life changed. So, go ahead and tell your story, man.
Yeah, so the day was, unfortunately, I remember the exact day. Oh, awesome follow-up that I've never told anybody on a podcast before. I said that like this, I've done so many. So it was, I actually just said, I remember the exact date. I do not remember the date now. I know it was October.
Right.
So I'm wrestling Bo James. They used to give me a lot of hell in the back about Wahoo McDaniels, which is fine. Wahoo's amazing. But I didn't know much about Wahoo, and they gave me a lot of shit about that. Side note, I come to find out that where Wahoo's last house in Charlotte was, I lived 3 miles from for 19 years. So I knew nothing about Wahoo, but he was a neighbor, evidently.
Oh, awesome.
So he goes to do a butterfly suplex type deal, and I did not know that's what he was doing. I'm not going to, unveil the wool or anything like that. All I'll say is I didn't know what we were doing. It could have been my fault. It could have been his fault. That's, the past is the past. I'm ready to let it be. Because it's not my place to judge somebody, and I don't think he purposely tried to hurt me. So he did it. I thought he was doing a double arm DDT for whatever reason. I'm not trying to crap on his size or anything, but I saw his size. I was like, oh, Mick Foley, double arm DDT. I went to jump to give him to make him look good, and evidently he was trying to flip me. And if anybody has seen those F it, I'm a tree, Shawn Michaels memes, I actually had somebody make one of me because that's what happened.
Oh, no.
I got completely dumped on my head. This was 2010. This is before I got to travel a lot and everything like that. So I'm blessed of everything that happened after that. But I wasn't right ever. I haven't been right ever since. Well, I wasn't right ever since then. I remember it took 2 weeks for me to go to the hospital. And I know I'm nobody, but any worker out there watching this, if you get hurt, you get dumped on your head, especially if you black out like I did, go to the hospital. I mean, I don't care if you can't pay them, go to the hospital. It could mean
go get
life.
checked, man. Find out. I mean, even concussions can take a little while to kick in and stuff like that. I mean, there's all kinds of data out there on that. If you black out, go to the hospital. That is a good thing to say, man. I'm glad you said that because a lot of people try. If they black out, they come to a few minutes later, they feel okay. They just go on with like nothing ever happened. Don't do that. Go get checked out regardless.
Modern medicine has made too many strides for us to sit here and act like. Here's the thing: you watch these old wrestlers and these legends go, well, back in my day, hey, back in their day, they barely had any medicine technology as far as what we have now. Compared to what we have now, it's made so many strides. So if you want to think that that's what being a badass or being a real man is, it's not. Go get checked out because 2 weeks after, I didn't get medication. I didn't get checked out. I had a severe concussion, could not see more than 5 feet in front of me. I did not know what was going on. My mother, who's a nurse, I didn't tell her what was going on. I had just moved out of my house, and I was 20. I was 21 years old, so I didn't start drinking till I was 21. Yeah, cheers. I didn't start drinking till I was 21 years old. So, I was drinking, I was having fun, I was dating girls, hanging out. Um, I was severely concussed. Matter of fact, there is, I can't remember the year, it should be around 2011, 2012. There's a match with me and a guy named Casey McKnight. Do you know that name, Scott?
I know the name, but I haven't seen the match though.
If I said Scott Dawson, would you know the name?
Oh yeah, of course I know the name.
So if anybody wants an example of how not to wrestle with a freaking concussion, go watch Steven Stifler versus Casey McKnight.
Okay.
I don't want people to watch that match, but I need people to watch it match if you think you can work with a freaking concussion. The match was awful. There was no psychology. I was trying to lead it as a bad guy, and I couldn't do it because I don't remember the match. I hate that it's on YouTube, but I love that it's on YouTube. It's a reminder of not working seriously hurt. You're going to hurt somebody else. And thankfully,
Yes.
I didn't hurt Casey, but I could have. I could have easily. I wanted to do like a pile driver or a power bomb or something like that. Casey may not be here right now, and thank God he is, because him and Cash are killing it right now. But don't work hurt. But so anyway, so I finished that. I was doing the gay character, then I was doing just bland. Then I started doing like drinker, which is fine. I was just trying to find all this stuff, and then in 2013, at that point, I was traveling. I lived in Anaheim, California for about 11 months, which was awesome because I'm an Anaheim Ducks hockey fan.
Right.
And I watched I won't say his name out of respect to his family, but I was watching my former tag team partner at that time, who we were living together. I watched him die in the ring.
Oh no.
And yeah, and from that point, that was 2000. That was still around 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. And I love him to death, and I love that.
So
family.
something happened. He got dropped wrong, or something happened in the ring. And...
It was a combination. Somebody slipped. They had him in that whole Celtic cross thing with his head, and it slipped under their butt. They fell on him, and he had a heart attack simultaneously. So he had some other health issues, but you get in.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. I really am. I'm sorry to hear that.
I pray for him and his family every day because I'm about to take a drink of beer after saying that.
Right.
But
no, I hate to hear stuff like that because it just goes to show that and we say it, and some people take it as a joke, but you are. Not only are you putting your life in somebody else's hands, but they're putting their life in your hands when you go out there and wrestle. People think that, it's so easy to go in and do these moves and land them and do it. It's not easy. I don't care. A lot of people, you got to realize that even if they jump, you're still holding all that weight up in the air, and you have to control it so they don't land on their head, flat on their head, or something like that. And it's just amazing how, and it just seems over the years, moves are getting more intense and more intense and more intense. Yeah. And all it takes is one mistake. And you're living proof of that. And you just talked about a gentleman who, one little slip up and he lost his life in the ring. I mean, people, it is true when you say, don't do this at home. Don't, because these are trained professionals. That's why we get so angry when kids are out there doing this without being trained the right way. Even kids can do something wrong and break their neck or paralyze themselves for life. All it takes is one wrong move. And I'm glad you're here to tell your story, man. Go ahead.
To add to that, now I'm trying to get in the best shape of my life because the boys and girls in the business, if you're watching this, you'll know what I mean. But I want to be the best base for all of you. that I can. That's why I'm going to the gym. If I look great, perfect. What's one of my goals. But go to the freaking gym. I don't care if you're 500 pounds, if you're out of shape, go to the gym. Because I need you to be able to pick me up, and I need you to be able to pick everybody up and protect us. Because this isn't just some random song and dance. You're playing with other people's lives.
Right. So tell me,
I,
because we only have a few more minutes left. So go ahead and
Okay.
tell me, what were the repercussions of what happened to you? What was the final, thing? What is today? What is going on because of what happened then?
So it was a combination of things. So I thankfully didn't have too crazy of issues years after. But so after the injury, I still worked. I was actually blessed enough to get to fly a lot. I was going to Minnesota about every other week, which was awesome because sometimes those shows would get canceled and I still get to go to Minnesota, which
Right.
people are like, oh, that's why. Because it would fly straight to the Mall of America, and that place is awesome. So
Largest mall in the world, brother. It's awesome. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and don't do nothing stupid there because they have a police department. I know firsthand. So, so after that, I started to rethink everything. I met my now wife, who I do want to give her a plug at the end if you don't mind. I met my now wife in February of 2013. Love her to death. I know she's not watching because she's at a fancy restaurant. She was cool with wrestling. She's actually a fan now because of me. I decided to kind of take it back because I wanted to focus on my relationship and my personal career. And because of that, I started to realize I wanted to be more open with something that I've been suffering for my entire life. I have Tourette syndrome. The boys and girls in the back that don't know this or didn't know this at the time, and now you will know this if you're watching this. I've had Tourette since I was 12. I was diagnosed when I was 12 years old. I was medicated highly because of it. Medication for most Tourette's patients, and anyone that's suffering from Tourette will know this. Most of the time, that medication just suppresses it. So I'll have a good 2-3 weeks, and then I'll have a bad 1 week. And that bad 1 week can drive you into a seizure. And I thankfully, knock on wood, have never had one. But I don't want a stroke, I don't want a seizure, and I don't want a palsy.
You're talking to a person who has had multiple seizures. I've got multiple, issues. So I can tell you right now, you don't want one. You don't want one, bro. My memory is really bad. I have to write everything down. I have to, it changes your life. It really does. And every day I'm forgetting more and more. And it don't affect me like, stuff that doesn't matter. But when you forget like birthdays, anniversaries, things that are important to other people and yourself, that's when it really hurts. When you wake up, I woke up one morning, man, and this is no joke, and I wasn't dropped on my head or anything. This is just from, medical stuff. I woke up one morning and didn't know who I was or where I was at for like the first hour I was awake.
Wow.
Yeah, that scared me. I even quit this show because of it. It scared me so bad. And I came on and I told everybody I was done. I couldn't, I don't want to come on here and forget who I am. It scared me that bad. So
people need to realize that neurological disabilities and side effects from that are extremely important.
I can't drive. They took my driver's license because of it. They did. I mean, I have to rely on other people to do, to take me places, to do things. I love my wife. I jokingly say she's my chauffeur, but without her, bro, I can't go nowhere.
Well, one, I'm thankful for your wife too, because, to have somebody that because you seem like a good guy, hopefully we'll get to meet soon, but to have somebody that sticks with you and cares. And not only that, like, for example, I'll bring my wife back up. I want to be and am an advocate for any disability, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's neurological, all that stuff. And add this too for the people that may even be thinking, well, how are you going to wrestle with Tourette's? Just look up Gregory Iron and just look up Zach Gowen. Trust me, I've been able to do it. I've been able to do it for 12 years with my
I tell you what,
disability.
you get that thing started, you let me know, and I'll help you out in any way. Hashtag Truth will back you up in any way we possibly can, brother, because I am in that boat myself, and I would be more than glad to help you out in that.
And one thing that me and my wife are going to do in our gimmick table, and as you know, and I won't completely say it on this show, it will be a gimmick table. Um, if you have Tourette's, our ribbon, and let's see if I can get it on here. Yeah, I feel like I've used the camera before. Let me take it off my stand.
There you go.
Come on. Yeah, you would think I've been able to do this before. There we go. Dang it. Anyway, the logo that I will have, when you see me in person.
Oh, no, I lost you. We'll give him a second, see if he can come back. We were having a great conversation with Darren Dalton, and he is a great guy, man. I love this conversation that we're having. But it is true, man. If you have a handicap or you're disabled in any way, something happened to him in the ring on top of it where he was dropped on his head, and it had to be a hard thing for him. So like I said before, and I will say it again, I am an avid fan of professional wrestling. And if you ever get injured in the ring, please, by all means, and I know he's back on, but if you get hurt in the ring or anything happens to you and you black out, or even if it's just for a second, go get yourself checked out. Make sure you're medically cleared. So you can come back and do what we love to watch you do, man, and train harder and make sure that don't happen again, man. If you're not sure if the other guy is trained up well, don't wrestle. Don't wrestle.
And if you're a referee and you see a guy limp, do not touch him. Please do not touch him. Get medic. I had one issue where there was I had an issue with my Tourette's, and Tim Thomas. This was actually at Vipers. This was actually at Vipers at HVW. If you're a referee and a guy goes limp, look in the crowd and ask, is anyone an EMT, a doctor, a nurse? I guarantee there will be at least somebody. I mean, me personally, I'm trained medically on a couple different levels.
Right.
So I like for CPR, stuff like that. I have a tourniquet training, stuff like that. Hopefully I never have to use my tourniquet at a wrestling show. Come on, guys, don't shoot nobody. But yeah, that's sorry I lost you. But
you good, man. You good. I if that's the worst thing that happens tonight, we're doing good.
I have a tattoo on my right arm that I just got. Let's try this one more time.
There you go. Now I can see it perfectly. There you go. Perfect.
So it's a lot of symbolism. Actually, I got the shaded skull, and it was a tattoo artist that did my wife's tattoo on her foot. So Tourette syndrome, we have the teal ribbon. Well, we're not the only ones. There's two other. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, which a lot of women suffer from, and ovarian cancer survivor ribbon. My wife has PTOS, and my mother-in-law is an ovarian cancer survivor. So the fact that we can bring those three ribbons in together is awesome, because that means more to me than anything, that my ribbon is for Tourette's, and I get to show that off to people and educate them about it. But I can also maybe touch on too, like, hey, go get checked, stuff like that. I want to say this too. If anybody ever sees me at the gimmick table, I'm going to get my wife to make small little stickers. If you have PTOS as a woman, or if you're an ovarian cancer survivor, or God forbid, if you have Tourette syndrome, definitely, I'm going to give you a free ribbon. It's the least I can do. It's what I wanted to do. You put that on your car, and if anybody asks, you can tell them about all three. You can educate them. Education is key with what I do on a daily basis. But as wrestlers, it's about going out there, promoting your character. But my first set of gear, as me and you briefly talked about off air, I'm going to kind of honor my TS, but
Right.
I'm also going to be more myself. My aggression is going to come out as Dalton Dallas. My fun side's going to come out as Dalton Dallas. My real side is going to come out as Dalton Dallas. If you're a promoter and you're watching this, and I'm looking at the bottom banner, I think I've wrestled for one of these. XWW, Manny Mac, if that's who is the promoter, if I'm not mistaken. I wrestled for Manny. God, that was a bad match. I think the kid, I don't know if that was his first match. It was not good. Manny, I'm sorry. Also, Manny, you owe me $5. Manny, give me $5.
You are the first person. You are the first person out of like 240 episodes that I've done that has called out somebody for owing them money. I have to say that.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, real quick then, if you're watching this, Insane Clown Posse, I don't know which one you are, the fat one. You owe me $500. And if you DM me, I will give you my address so you can send that check in the mail. And also, via another podcast, he also owes, I think, $25 to Zane Riley. So pay us our money. So just throwing that out there. Clowns don't pay. I'm going to get a sign. I'm going to protest it. Clowns don't pay. I do not like Phil. Sorry. It was the most fun show I've ever done ever, but they did not pay well.
Because we are out of time. Before we go, tell everybody, Dalton Dallas, where to find you on social media, and that way they know when you're going to wrestle next.
So and hopefully it's coming soon. I'm waiting to hear back from a response. I'm actually going to get some ring time in soon with possibly Ethan Case, some Bob Keller, a couple others. If you got a ring and you want me to come do some workouts, hit me up. On Twitter, I'm Dalton Dallas 44. On Instagram, I'm Dalton Dallas 44. And Facebook, I'll say it. On Facebook, I'm Joshua Stifler, Stifler Lambert, Lambert. Also, if you're wrestling, promoters, if you don't want me to do this, you probably should send me a message first. I will ask. I'm just kidding. I'll ask. My wife makes delicious treats. She makes high-end sugar cookies that are themed. She also does chocolate dipped strawberries, pretzels, cake pops. She does chocolate jalapenos, which, by the way, amazing.
So are you telling me that if they book you, you will bring catering? Is that what you're saying?
If you pay me extra, I'll bring catering. I was going to say I will be selling these at the gimmick table.
I got you.
My wife's thing, and last night she and Scott, I'll send you the link to if you can remember this. It's therusticmixer.com and the Rustic Mixer on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. But she just made custom macaroons, which are my favorite thing. But working out as much as I am and dieting the way I am, I can't have them. But she just made Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh fame.
Nice.
She just made a theme to that one. So those orders are local pickups in Rock Hill, South Carolina. But if you want to place an order, she requires half down payment. And you see that I'm booked at a show, message her, see if she can work it out, and maybe we can bring the order to you at the show. I'm fine with that. Money is money. And you're going to get what you pay for because she makes really good stuff. So
there you go. I love it. I totally love it. That is so cool, man. So, man, I appreciate you coming on hashtag and telling everybody your story and letting everybody know, how you're doing. And this is just great, man. I have had a great time this hour and 10 minutes. And I would love to ask you to come back at a later time, man, and we'll discuss more stories because I know you've got a good memory. I'll say that about you. You've got a really good memory. You remember a lot of good stories, and I love to hear good wrestling stories, man. And hopefully some of these stories won't catch up to you.
I hope not to.
Well, all right, we're gonna end it like this, man. They called him Stifler back then. But he's got a new name now. He is Dalton Dallas. And you will see him very soon in a wrestling ring near you. And that is the hashtag truth. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.